Hello everyone, thank you for coming and thank you for joining in. My name is Edoardo Binda, Zane, and I'm a communication trainer and leadership consultant. I work both individually in offering one-to-one coaching, and I work with teams in corporates and startups, and with the aim of enabling people to generate more value. And I like to do that by helping people communicate better and work better together. And I like working with communication not so much because of a personal preference, that as well, but because communication is the skill that taps into every single other area we need to excel in. It taps into giving feedback and accepting feedback. It taps into negotiation. It taps into passing on information, plain and simple. It taps into being on stage and presenting. So this is the area I have chosen to focus mostly on. And the way I like to work is by relying on mainly two areas. The first one is science, because I don't want to invent something. I want to make sure that when I come to you with a piece of knowledge, that you can rely on it, because I know I've done my research and it's something that's been tested and proven. And secondly, I like to work directly with practice, because there is no point in passing on interesting concepts and ideas if I also don't give you a roadmap of what to do right afterwards. So you will see those two pillars and actions also today during this webinar, also because I have developed a tool that I will share with you specifically for this event. I'll share with you the download link as soon as I can. And I almost forgot. I'm also the host of the Snippets of Leadership podcast, which is a podcast I've developed to give away specific, practical, and applicable tips to become a better leader. I publish them every 1 to 2 weeks, and they're 5 to 10 minutes in length, each one. So if you're interested in something like that, I encourage you to sign up and follow it. You can find everything on my website. Now, coming to what we're talking about today, we are going through something unprecedented, a massive shockwave that has pretty much turned upside down every single area that we could rely on. And we don't know exactly when it's going to be over, what is going to be over, how it will impact the world that we used to know beforehand at work, to what extent. And if that is the case, scenarios or not, the only thing we can count on for sure is uncertainty. So if that is the only area we can count on, that's something we need to prepare for. And this is what I want to double down on today. Now, we all know what being in a situation of uncertainty and complexity out of our control does. It creates stress, activates a fight or flight response. We go back into our shell. We don't want to cooperate with others and want to just protect what is ours. So if there is one need that people will have much more in the future than now, as long as this keeps on going on, is psychological safety. So if you're in a position of leadership, formal or informal, you need to double down on anything you can to provide higher psychological safety to your team. And out of everything that you could do, there is one element that I want to focus on today that for me is the only thing you need to focus on. I will share with you this element, and I will also give you numbers about it. Numbers are the results of a 10-year study that has proven what this specific element can do. And I hope that they're going to be as shocking for you as they were for me. There we go. The element that you need to double down on right now is trust. You need to gain your team's trust, whether you're a formal leader or an informal leader. Why? This is why. Because a comparison between companies with a high level of trust and companies with a low level of trust has revealed an insane difference. So first of all, just going through these elements quickly. People in a high trust company report 100% more energy. That's double. They're much more engaged with each other, engaged in work, in cooperation, in what they do together. This is for me the most interesting aspect. They have 50% more productivity. This means that just solely by establishing trust in a team, if two people were able to follow 2 projects, now those 2 people will be able to follow 3 projects. If that is not striking, I don't know what is. You have also more in general happiness with your life, and you take away a bunch of bad stuff that you don't want. So stress minus 74%, chances of burnout slashed, and minus 13% sick days. If you think of a cost of a sick day, it's anywhere between 1,000 to 3,000 euros per company. That's money. So if we all know that having trust in a company, trusting each other is an interesting thing to have. It's different when you see those numbers. So if you have anyone who is doubting about why you should focus on trust and on soft skills in general, show them this graph. Now, that said, how do we do it? What I would like to do now is give you a quick rundown, because there are some elements that are codified that you can follow to build trust. Specifically, these 3. People will think that you're trustworthy if they feel that they are respected by you, if they believe that you are credible, and if they believe that you are fair. So if you want to get those effects that we've seen before, you need to be credible, fair, and respectful. Let's go through them one by one, quite quickly. Credibility means that people believe that you will tell the truth in general, that you won't be lying to their face, that you are ethical in your business practice, and that in general you're consistent. Being consistent means you will follow up on something you say. If you say that you're going to solve a conflict, I need to be able to trust that you will. That makes you consistent, and in general, that contributes to making you credible. By the way, if you have any questions, feel free to write them down. I'll be answering them as I go along. Secondly, when it comes to respect, people will think that you respect them if they believe that you genuinely support their development. That if you want to develop a specific professional area, you will give them the chance to do so. Second, that you will care for them, plain and simple. That they are not just a money-making machine in your team, but they will be able to bump into you in a bar on a Sunday and you will engage with them as a normal person. This may sound very far-fetched, but this idea, this separation of professionalism and personal area, in more companies that I would like to admit, I've seen it being way too harsh and pointless, as we've seen. And the third element is that people will consider you respecting them if you will include their ideas in your input whenever you need to make a decision. If you brainstorm or come up, ask everyone to give you ideas on something, on a new strategy or anything else, but everyone knows that you're just doing a show and you keep on going with your own idea, they won't really feel respected by you. And last, fairness. People will believe that you are fair if personal friendships and titles don't matter to you, if they believe that they don't matter to you when it comes to career development options. If there is an open position, I would need to be able to trust that you will not give it to your friend instead of me, even though I deserve it. People will believe that you are fair if, when it comes to pay and benefits, you're also equal between personal contacts or not. And last, that you won't take any sides because of hierarchy or, again, personal connections when it comes to solving a problem or solving a conflict. So again, these three elements of each one of those three factors determine whether someone will trust you or not. Unconsciously, that is what you are going to be judged on. So if you want to be respectful, credible, and fair, you need to nail all those 9 elements. So wrapping until we've everything we've said so far, we've seen how trust is the element you need to double down on right now, because that is going to be able to counteract every negative effect that this level of uncertainty will keep on giving us for the coming year or years. We don't even know that. And if you want to build trust, there are 3 elements: credibility, respect, fairness, you need to consider. And to do that, you need to nail 9 elements, the one that we've seen. So this is the what we're going to do. We're missing the how, the practical part. Because again, these are all interesting ideas, but I'm fairly sure that some of you are thinking, great, that's a great concept, but how do I do it? Well, what is interesting is that this 10-year study that I'm referring on in part has also looked at what behaviors specifically are able to trigger trust. And the tool that I mentioned before will help you measure where you are with each one of those behaviors. So I want to go through them individually fairly quickly, but to give you an idea of to give you a framework of reference of what you should focus your attention on. And those are daily behaviors if you're in a leadership position. The first one is recognizing excellence. Sounds fancy, I know. What this means is that whenever someone has achieved a goal that you had agreed on before or went beyond that, people will trust that you will publicly acknowledge it, publicly acknowledge merit and be fair about it. Not just privately saying, hey, you've done a good job, and the opposite, if someone hasn't met a goal, scold that person in front of everyone at a meeting. Second one, setting hard but achievable challenges. This is one of my favorites, because too often we see, leaders that want to go for growth, and their idea is to overwork people that work for them and squeeze every inch of energy that they have left. However, if you set something that is not easy to achieve, however still achievable, that can trigger a state of flow where you're extremely engaged and extremely energetic in your job. It triggers cooperation, and it also triggers a self-esteem level, meaning that you believe that your leader thinks that you're worth something. That is motivation, and that is great. And that is also a source of trust. Moving on, let people self-organize. And this is especially relevant when it comes to uncertainty. The tendency is we need to control everything. We need to make sure that everything is going the way we want. So if we're heading a project, a first instinct could be, under uncertainty and pressure, to look at everything that the other person is doing, monitoring both the result, whether they tick the box or not, and the process. Because for some reason we tend to think that unless things are done the way we want, they're not going to be done well. Let that go. Give people the chance to self-organize, to work out how to reach their goals the way they see fit. If they want to work all weekend and do nothing during the week, let them do that. Maybe not as extreme, but you get the point. Set milestones, set goals, and review them on a regular basis. Number 4, let people work on what they want. And here I don't mean like anything else that like work without coherence in the team. But if there are different areas of work and you know that some people have a preference for something or want to try something else, find a way to make it happen. That shows that you care for someone's personal and professional development and that you care for them. Of course, you need to balance it, but that's beyond the point. Moving on, sharing information completely and being transparent about it. We said before that we're referring to high trust companies as a way to limit the level of insecurity, instability that we have. However, what do you have to do? You're just a team leader. You're not the C-level of the company. You could also look at the same thing from this perspective. You could look at it as you are the interface. What I mean is, if I'm a bottom line employee and I work for a huge corporation, I have no access to the meeting rooms of the C-level where tactics, strategies are decided. I don't. So the highest point I daily have contact with is my team leader. And if this person is transparent, passes on information, shares, and isn't afraid of keeping me out of the loop, that will make me trust this person and by proxy, letting me trust the company. It's something that I see a lot of leaders don't consider, but please keep that into account. You're not just a team leader. You are the interface of the whole company for people that work in your team. Depending on the company, of course, but generalizing. Moving on, intentionally build relationships. This is something else that you can focus on. You need to give people the chance to work together, but also to get to know each other on a more personal basis. And on the one hand, it can be the yearly team building event that, if you follow me, I'm not a big friend of. It might be forced, but it helps people have a conversation. Otherwise, after work drinks work. Community lunch, if that's the type of company what you work in. Anything that, or inviting someone else out for a drink with you after work. I had leaders that did that when I was working in companies beforehand, and it did help. Because this way, you start to be perceived as a human being, and other people think they're perceived the same way by you. This is, again, moving beyond this professionalism level. It's personal. Number 7, showing care for their personal and professional growth. Do you actually actively ask your team whether they are happy in their position? Whether you can help them develop something else? Whether you can help them become someone else in the company or outside? This may be not the friendliest point of view for a company that wants to keep the talents they have hired, but it's part of being a human being at work. And again, bringing it back to the point, we are trying to find behaviors that establish trust, because those behaviors will help us get all the gains that we've seen in the beginning. And speaking of behaviors, the last one, show vulnerability. A huge amount of times when I do workshops and when I do one-to-ones, I see people really, even though theoretically they agree with the idea, they're not really comfortable in asking for help or admitting that they don't know something. However, that is only counterproductive because people will see right through you. If you're out of your depth, they will notice. And then again, showing vulnerability, first of all, portrays you as a person, and second, when someone above you asks you for help, well, you feel that the person has trust in your knowledge, that that person believes in you, and that motivates you, builds up your self-esteem, which reduces stress and contributes directly to everything else that we've seen. Does this make sense so far? Please, if you have any questions, write them on. I'll be happy to answer anything you might want. And So in the meantime, I did promise that I would share a specific tool for you because we've gone through a lot of content so far, but when it comes to the practical side, it's a lot to implement. So this is the link. What I would like you to do is head over to the article on my website, and I left the link in the comments or in the description depending on where you're watching this. Head over to that article and find the link where it says template. Take it and download it. What you will find is a Word document summarizing pretty much what we've discussed until now, and an Excel file. What I've done is I've built a questionnaire that you will fill up by yourself and you have everyone else fill up so that you can figure out where you are when it comes to these areas and these behaviors. It's important that you have your point of view and your team's point of view, because if it's just you doing it, your perception might be completely skewed. So take it and download it, and you can start filling it up right now. What you have is a total of 17 questions that or actually 17 statements. You'll take a look at what works and what statements you agree with and what statements you don't agree with. And then you will compile them and have your point of view done. Sorry, what I meant is you will say how much you agree with each statement when it's referred to yourself. Otherwise, when it comes to your team, you need to get their feedback as well. So what I would like you to do is to take that Word document, print out the questionnaire, and have everyone fill it up anonymously. Now I'm talking about Word documents and Excel and printing things out, and I know they are not the sexiest tool around, but they're universal. So pretty much anyone can have access to a Word document or a spreadsheet and use these tools. Feel free to punch them into anything else that you might want. That's completely up to you. So the way it would look like is this. These are the 17 questions. I hope you can see them. And you will simply point out, well, how much do I care for my team on a personal level? From 1 to 10, do I agree or disagree? And you will just give yourself a rating on how much you do that. Then, once you have all the other sheets of paper collected from anyone else, you'll punch them into the Excel file. You have a spreadsheet with 15 sheets, each one for each individual. And then what will happen is that the formulas will punch everything in, and you will end up with something like this. This will tell you specifically how credible, fair, and respectful you think you are, and your team thinks that you are. It gives you a direct perception. For example, here, you believe that you're extremely credible, but your team thinks that you're doing a quite terrible job. Otherwise, you might think that you're not really respecting others, but instead you're doing a really good job, so just keep on doing exactly what you do. You don't need to invest any more energy on that area. And same thing, well, when it comes to fairness, you don't believe that you're treating everyone fairly, and neither does your team, so that's something you need to work on. Same thing with all the other behaviors that we have seen before. So it's 17 questions. Everyone has enough time to fill up a spreadsheet with that amount of questions. Everyone has 2 minutes to share. It's a minimum effort. However, this will allow you to have specifically an idea of where do you need to focus your energy in order to gain more trust and establish a culture of trust. Once you have that, you have a direction to go. And having a direction to go is will save you a lot of time and a lot more energy when it comes to gaining all the positive effects that we've seen beforehand. I'll be wrapping it up soon. So any questions you might have, feel free to punch them in right now. I'd love to see if you have any feedback on what I'm talking about right now. But in the meantime, what we've seen today has to do with whatever is coming in the future. We're kind of getting out of this COVID situation, but not exactly. We're not sure to what extent. It depends on where we are. And what we know for sure is that the disruption levels that this calamity, let's call it like that, has caused are insane. And when everything is so uncertain, our first tendency is to protect ourselves, to keep up into our shell, and making sure that we're always as good as we can be. 1 second. This is a comment I want to address as quick as I can, because someone is telling me that they cannot locate the template. Well, the template is in the article. Directly scroll down. There are 3 links. When you will see download this template in the article, or look for the word template on the page, and you should be able to download it quickly. Otherwise, I'll just put a different link afterwards. Now, back to what I was saying. Wrapping up all these points. We know that this level of uncertainty will keep on impacting the way we work and the way people around us work for a very long time. Or maybe for a short time, but still extremely intensive. So now, when it comes to what you can do, the thing you need to double down on is the level of trust. How much you, as a formal or informal leader, are trusted by people around you. And we've seen that trust, people decide if they trust someone at work or they don't, based on 3 elements: respect, fairness of treatment, and credibility. We've seen all the different elements of these that you need to nail to be sure that you are respected, that they are respectful, credible, and fair with everyone. And we've seen how 8 specific behaviors are the ones that are most conducive to building a sense of trust. So those 8 behaviors, you need to see how well you're performing in each one of them. And if you see that you're lacking into something, that's where you need to focus your energy. So I've prepared this template for you that you can take it, use it. This video will be online, so keep on, if you need a reference, you can rewatch it, or you can reach out to me directly and review it on a regular basis. I believe in data. I believe in knowing where you are and being able to trace the path that you have followed. So it is important that you repeat this questionnaire let's say every 6 months, every 4 months if you want to speed things up. But of course, you need to give your behaviors, your changes, time to seep in. You don't really have much control of it. But you need to see what is happening. And if you see some areas that are really always in the red, feel free to address them directly with your team. And you can be candid about it. You can share everything we've said in this webinar, have someone else watch it in your team, and see and explain why you're doing what you're doing. There is no point in hiding information. Showing transparency is one of the behaviors that we've seen. Now, again, if you have any questions, I'm going to be wrapping this up soon. Feel free to ask them now, either in the comments or in a message. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to me directly. I'll be happy to connect with you on LinkedIn, here on Facebook, or directly via my website. I'm hosting these webinars on a regular basis for one-to-one coaching online and in person. I'm based in Berlin but travel around Europe. And I offer group workshops, which hopefully will start again now that things are starting to open up again. For everything else, please take a look at my website. All the content that I've discussed is on there. The Snippets of Leadership podcast does cover already some of the points that I have mentioned, and more will be coming. I've just published a series on creative leadership, so what it takes to be a creative leader, and I'll publish one soon on emotional intelligence, for example. All of them in little snippets that you can listen to on your way to work or on your lunch break. I don't see that there are any questions popping up. I would like to thank you for taking the time and sharing this moment with me. Anything else that comes up, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll simply be very happy of hearing from you or having any feedback on what you've seen today. I hope this can be useful. If you have anything, feel free to reach out. Thank you for coming, and I hope to see you next time.